So a lot of people in the gaming community are very excited about the launch of the NVIDIA RTX 3000 series cards, more specifically the 3070. That's the card that everyone has their eye on because it's only $500 and is able to match the 2080 Ti in performance. And the reason why that's a big deal is because the 2080 Ti is a $1,200 graphics card, and you'll get the same performance now, maybe even a little faster performance, for only $500. So this has a lot of PC gamers really excited. The 3070 is definitely going to be a really popular graphics card for the next year or two at least. And of course, we also got the 3080, which is even more powerful. I think it's a $700 card, and then you got a $1,500 graphics card in the 3090, which is just a fucking monster. But I'm sure most of you know about this already. This is definitely old news at this point. This was revealed, 4 or 5 days ago? But I still decided to make a video talking about this topic because of the certain way that people have been reacting to the 3000 series cards. Especially on the PC side, people who are trying to say that, oh my god, these cards are so powerful, now console gaming is irrelevant, the PS5 and Series X is irrelevant because look at these cards, they're more powerful. And how about the 3070? It's only $500. This means that the consoles are irrelevant because the PC is more powerful. Like, I just don't... These PC fanboys, like, I'm sorry to say, okay, so I always go after console fanboys the most on this channel, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. But sometimes the PC fanboys can be a little out there too, let's be real. Because that makes absolutely no sense. The idea that 3000 series cards are going to make console gaming irrelevant. Irrelevant for who? For PC gamers? Most PC gamers were never interested in the next-gen consoles to begin with. So what are they saying? What are PC fanboys saying when they're trying to say that console gaming is irrelevant now? That the new consoles are irrelevant because we have more powerful GPUs that completely outmatch the new consoles in terms of performance? Yeah, no shit. Of course that was going to happen. That's inevitable. A year from now, we'll be talking about new cards that'll be coming out in fall 2021 that'll be even more powerful than the ones we're talking about now. That's just what happens with technology. That's what happens with PC gaming. It's always adapting and always evolving. But does that mean the new consoles still aren't technically impressive? I don't think so. I think it's still really impressive that they're able... I mean, the Series S... Look at the Series X. It has ray tracing capabilities and pretty good performance that probably matches a 2070 for only $300. $300, the current price of a Nintendo Switch. And speaking of the Switch, how underpowered was that console? The Switch came out in 2017 and was less powerful than the base model of the PS4 and Xbox One. And after only being on the market for 3 years, the Switch has already sold over 60 million units worldwide. So power is not everything. And as amazing as PC gaming is, I love PC gaming. I don't even touch my consoles anymore. You guys know that. So this isn't me trying to defend console gaming and being a console fanboy. It's just me being realistic. The average person does not give a fuck about the 3070 or the 3080 or whatever power PC gaming has to offer. They care about value. And for a lot of people, a $300 box that can do everything you need in order to get started to play games, that's a better value than spending $1,000 plus on a gaming PC. Now, do I agree that that actually is a better value? Of course not. I think console gaming is a huge scam. But most people disagree with me on that. And even if we're talking about the Series X and PS5, which will probably cost $500 each, the 3070 alone is $500, which, don't get me wrong, is an amazing value. I think it's an amazing price point for what they're offering. But you can get an entire console for the price of that GPU. For someone who's already into PC gaming, if they have a good CPU, if they have enough RAM, I think, yeah, they're definitely better off. If it's time to upgrade their GPU, they're definitely way better off getting the 3070 than a PS5 or Series X. But if you don't, if you're new to PC gaming, not only would you have to buy that GPU for $500, and of course there are cheaper GPU options. I'm not trying to say the 3070 is the only thing, but that's what everyone's talking about, trying to say this is why consoles are relevant because of the 3070. Like, it doesn't make any sense, because the price of the GPU alone is the price of the consoles, and then you add in RAM, then you add in CPU, then you add storage. It's a huge investment for a lot of people who are getting into it for the first time. Never mind even trying to figure out how to build it, because, you know, if you're trying to build it for the first time, it can be really challenging. So a lot of people go with pre-built machines that are even more expensive, because not only are you paying for the parts, but you're paying for someone to build the machine for you. Now, me myself, I got a pre-built machine because I was not confident enough to build a PC on my own. And yeah, I spent $1,000 for a 1060 3GB and an 8700, which I still use today, and I got 16 gigs of RAM and everything else, but I had to upgrade my GPU like just a year after getting it. I got a 2060 Super. So yeah, pre-built machines are not a good value in my opinion, but I think if it weren't for pre-built machines, I wouldn't have gotten started in the first place for PC gaming. But I did put a lot of money into it, even though I think it's better, even though I think PC gaming is the greatest gaming experience you could ever have. It does have a lot of upfront cost to it, even if you're just building one from scratch. If you try to build a gaming PC that matches the power of the PlayStation 5 or Series X, it's going to cost more than the console. And not just that, but you need to learn how to build a machine. If you're not into technology like that, that can be really intimidating for most people. So I can just never envision a scenario where PC gaming completely obliterates consoles and everyone is playing on a PC and consoles are completely dead. I just don't see that ever happening. Ever. And this is from a die-hard PC gamer who loves my gaming PC, who hates consoles. Even though I have to admit that that is a little far-fetched. I mean, there were so many people that were trying to write off console gaming, trying to say that the 8th generation was going to be the last console gen, when we have the Nintendo Switch, which sold over 60 million units in 3 years, the PS4, which has sold, over 110 million units at this point, and the Xbox One only sold 50 million, but still, console gaming is not going anywhere anytime soon, and people are trying to say, oh, the 9th gen now is going to be the last generation. Like, it's just ridiculous. Console gaming is not going anywhere. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's true. People love their consoles, and that's not going to change. Even if 5 years from now the PS5 will be so underpowered compared to the brand new RTX 8070, the average person doesn't care about having the highest performance and the highest frame rates. Especially frame rate. If console gamers were okay playing games at 30 FPS this whole time, then I think they'll be just fine for the next 5 to 6 years having a ray tracing console that should be able to run every game at 1080p 120Hz, at least 60 frames at 1440p, and even if it doesn't hit 60 at 4K, I think the average person will be more than happy with the power of the PS5 and Series X. Not to mention the really fast loading times on those SSDs. Yeah, I think the PS5 and the Series X will do just fine. I mean, at least the PS5 will. I'm not sure about how the Series X will do in terms of sales. Microsoft has been making a lot of bonehead decisions, but the Series S might be the thing that saves them. And that alone, a $300 console that can do ray tracing, I mean, come on. That is kind of impressive. Am I gonna buy one? No. But if you don't think that console's gonna push a lot of units this holiday season, you're a fool. And if you think console gaming is gonna die anytime soon, you're just delusional. And you just don't understand how the real world actually works. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of stupid console fanboys also that were trying to say, oh my god, it's more powerful than a 2080 Super, talking about the PS5 and Series X. Oh, PC gaming is irrelevant, not realizing that there's just going to be a more powerful GPU in the market eventually, and that card ended up being the 3000 series, which are way more powerful than the PS5 and Series X. So yeah, console fanboys are probably still the dumbest, but PC fanboys can be a little out there too.